Let's kick it off. Some guys who are hitting. Who's hot? And who's hot is
Who do you got?
the guy who claims to be better than Barry Bonds. I'm going to tell you who's very hot, and I
Yeah.
am so glad I have him on my fantasy team. It's all about the
Look at
content,
that.
bro.
Yeah.
And that is Jose Ramirez, and just his numbers. In the last week, he was over the last 7 days batting 500 with 4 home runs, 12 RBIs, 10 runs scored. Sorry, on base 500 and a stolen base. And they walked him. Basically, the story, if you didn't hear it, they essentially walked him. It wasn't intentional, but it was pretty much intentional with the bases loaded in the Angels game. And they asked him, well, what, you got the Barry Bonds treatment, right? Famously, Barry Bonds was walked intentionally with the bases loaded. He said, I'm better than Barry Bonds. And then he hit a home run the next game. So maybe he is better than Barry Bonds. He is scorching hot. Aaron Judge, by the way, just for a second, because like Aaron Judge, you mentioned, I just want to mention this. He has a 1,500, close to 1,600 OPS in the last month. It's not normal. So
Yeah.
those two guys have been hot.
Yeah. I looked at some of because I almost, for a who's not, I thought about having the Cubs on here because they have had the worst offense in all of baseball in May.
The Mets have
And
3 wins in May, if that makes you feel any better. 3.
slightly better. Yes.
They're
But
11 games under 500. They've won
it,
3 games.
it made me feel pretty bad when I realized
I think
Aaron
they've had
Judge.
the lead in the ninth like 7 times, and they've still only won 3 games.
That's even worse.
Yeah.
Aaron Judge has 11 home runs in the month of May, and the Cubs have 22. So Aaron Judge having my entire team, my favorite team, has been kind of killer to watch. So yeah, I
They
almost
have
had them
like
for
the
a nod.
Apple counter at Citi Field.
Hmm.
How many home runs the Mets have hit home this year? I looked at, I think after today, it's at 24.
Brutal.
It's not enough.
No, no. So should I do hot? Should I do not? What do you think?
You're going to do not.
All right,
So we can
I
keep it
will.
quick. Just to like
Sure.
full disclosure, I had crazy New Jersey transit situation, phone dying, so super late. So we're gonna try and keep this episode a little bit shorter, get you the information you need. So we're just gonna switch off one of each, and then go ahead.
So my first who's not is Ahmed Rosario. And it's too bad because I was kind of hyping him up in the offseason, and obviously right out of the gates he looked phenomenal. And I was
Looks
like,
great
yes, it's a
early, yeah.
banger, like he's here. And he has since cooled off. Last 4 games, not doesn't have a hit, which, not a big sample, but overall the season slash line is down to 276, 289, 387. And there's just no power. He's got 2 home runs, right? There's no power. There's very little speed, 5 steals out of 8 attempts. So he's really not like killing it on steals. Doesn't have the counting stats. And it looks like he may slowly start to lose on playing time because the Rays have plenty of guys there. Amin Rosario is kind of, he's definitely a cut in 12 teams. You're maybe holding in 15s, but he's on that threshold because he has not been the first part that we saw out of Amin Rosario.
All right. So now we move on to buy low. I will tell you who I'm buying low on. You're going to tell me who you're selling high on. Buy low, sell high. Before we do that, I'm going to pay off something for you guys. I told you to buy on Paul Goldschmidt, and my God, was I right? Before, by the way, it was like right when I told you to buy low on him. I said I think he's going to get traded later in the year. I still think he will, but I said he's not this bad. I think he'll get traded. He'll be on a better team. And I know we talked about Machado earlier, so that's coming up a little bit later when we do our trade. We'll mention that. But Paul Goldschmidt was batting 190 with a 530 OPS the first 37 games this year. And basically in the last 2 weeks since then, he has an OPS over 1,000 and a 320 batting average. So it literally happened as I told you that you should be buying him. Boom, it went off for him. So the same thing with Bo Bichette. Bo Bichette wasn't as immediate, but again, I told you for weeks, like keep buying Bo Bichette. And he went off, and it happened in my league. Somebody bought him. Somebody like listened to me, and I'm an idiot for not listening to my own advice. Like I should have traded for both of those guys. I need offense. I told you last week to sell Aaron Judge. He hasn't cooled off yet. We'll see. But Jonah Heim is who I'm going to be buying because he's like 3 for his last 40, something like that. In the last couple of weeks, his on base is under 200. The Rangers as a whole haven't been good. With a catcher position that's not been super deep this year, I think he's a great spot where you can look at what he did early in the year, where he was pretty hot to start the year, and say this Texas team is only going to get better. He's going to have RBIs, he's going to have run scores, and he plays a premium position. So I am buying on Jonah Heim at a time where maybe there's a little bit of a dip. I did see his roster percentage drop a little bit in the last couple of weeks because he hasn't been playing well.
Yep.
To me, that's a good opportunity to buy.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I haven't looked at his numbers. I'm still maybe not sold on Goldschmidt. Like I don't think he's as bad as he was, but I'll accept that one. Yeah, and Jonah Heim's underlying stuff, yeah, doesn't look too great. Ex-WOBA in the 21st percentile, strikes out actually at a pretty good rate, 17%. So maybe there's something there still for Jonah Heim. His numbers don't look too bad. Average XVelo just under 90. So he's still hitting the ball relatively hard. Like you said, the whole Texas Rangers team is struggling. So maybe there's something there for him. And my sell high is what we talk about. Follow your own advice. I don't know if I can follow this advice, Rami. I don't know if I can do it. I have this guy in a dynasty team. I don't know if I can sell him. And that is Royce Lewis. He's coming
Oof,
off of his injury, and hopefully he's back within a week or two. It's looking good. It's looking promising.
that's your guy.
It's my guy. I don't know if I could sell him, right? I think Royce Lewis, top
That
five
was like the
potential
first name
fantasy
that we talked
player.
about on this
Yep.
show.
Yep.
Yeah.
Love him. I would say maybe don't sell right now. Wait a couple weeks. Wait for him to start swinging the bat because he's going to come in and start swinging the bat hot. Wait a week or two, and then price is going to be at a peak. Sell him. Maybe you could probably get a top 30 player for him. I would think pretty easily. Although, like we talked about, maybe when you trade him, you try to look for a bat, right? Because bats are down so much. Somebody's going to be like, oh, Royce Lewis could win me this league. I'm one piece away. If you can get a couple bats or a really good bat, a safe bat for him, I'd certainly be all over Royce Lewis.